patient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. If I can have today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds. 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
God can't drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Fuhrer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Fuhrer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means, like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing, since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage, from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all fours and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Salt Mine City is your go-to brewery in the Haymarket for craft beers and great food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their Big Fatty 7-ounce hamburger or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. And don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 11 a.m. Friday through Sunday at 8th and R.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
This is the Adam Carricker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carricker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carricker Show. All right, you know what it is. You're going to hear Husker sports, college football, and sports in general. What you're going to get is unique insight, unbridled honesty. And producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Jake, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, not too bad. I think I'm starting to get through that Husker grieving process we were talking about. I feel a little bit better here on a Tuesday.
All right. Where are you at in the process?
Well, I think I've moved. I'm a little bit moving on, although I will say it doesn't take too long to get there. But now I'm starting to turn my focus on the Michigan State game. And, there's different kind of must-win games. We talk about Michigan being big for the program. This is one of those must not lose games, because then all of a sudden you're kind of scrambling.
Wow. First of all, when you said looking ahead to Michigan State, I was like, whoa, that's a little early to be doing so, especially since we got the bye week. Dude, that's not even a topic for today. It wasn't supposed to be, but this show goes wherever it wants to go every day. Is Michigan State a must win?
I think so.
I got to be honest. I think it entered my brain briefly. Lots of things enter my brain briefly every day, but not a whole lot sticks, if I'm being honest with you. It's in one ear and out the other, in one brain cell and out the other, because I've only got about 2 of them. So a lot goes in and out, but I hadn't really taken time to think about it. Because like most people, I'm like, we got a bye week. So it was almost like, to me, it slowed down the grieving process because I knew I had more time to grieve, unfortunately. I don't know if I've ever shared this. So my dad is the guy who made me a Husker fan. He didn't even know it. He was born in Hastings, grew up one of the biggest Husker fans I've ever met in my life. In fact, when I was growing up, my mom was not a football fan, not a Nebraska fan. She's actually more of a football Nebraska fan now than she ever was when I was growing up. She hated the fact that I started to play football. She didn't want her Will boy get hurt. Here I am 10 surgeries later. It's like my mom was being prophetic there. But I'll never forget, she would tell stories about giving him crap on Thanksgiving Day. You know, way back in yesteryear when Nebraska would play Oklahoma every year on Thanksgiving Day, because he'd be so nervous. He'd be like eating, the food would literally be falling off his fork and spoon because he'd be so nervous. So anyways, I quickly learned growing up. Pardon me, let me grab a swig here real quick. I quickly learned growing up that what I could or could not get away with, all right, on a daily basis, especially in the fall, was very closely linked to what happened on Saturday afternoons in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'll never forget, people are going to remember this, and I apologize for bringing it up, but there was one year Nebraska lost to Texas. We had a few too many fumbles in that particular year. Why I remember it is Nebraska had a bye week after that. Dude, that was the longest 2 weeks in the history of the Carricker household. I was walking on already broken eggshells for 2 weeks. And I got in trouble for things that, in my very biased opinion, may not have been fair to get in trouble for. Just a loss and then a bye week, man, it's just brutal. So anyways, I hadn't really thought about Michigan State yet. Just a little bit, like I said, in one brain cell, not my other brain cell. And that was really about it. Because I knew I had this extra week to sit here and process Michigan, and then I'd start to look ahead to Michigan State. I don't know, probably Saturday, Sunday, something like that. I want to ask the listeners at home, is Michigan State a must-win? Is it a must-win? Jake, what's that number?
402-464-5685.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for those responses to come in, the Adam Carricker Show. What you're going to hear, unique insight, unbridled honesty. Producer Jake and I are going to have a lot of fun in the process. Hour one of the Adam Carricker Show is sponsored by Hamilton Telecommunications, bringing you the latest in quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. Have we gotten any responses yet, Jake?
Earthquake Glue says must win. 0628 says 100% yes. Bill and Bennett says Bach is right. I think MSU is a must win too. Dave Braska says yes, it's a must win because it's at home. 0628 says if we lose, our confidence will be shot.
And you said it was a must win, didn't you?
I almost put it as must not lose. But
kind of
yeah,
the same thing.
It is the same thing, but it's just a different way of thinking about it.
So we've heard a couple of reasons as to why. I don't think we have to venture a guess too much, but why do you think it is a must not lose? I guess we're gonna phrase it that way. Why is it a must not lose there, Jake?
Well, I think just as time goes on, this Michigan game. I don't think is going to be the end of the world like we kind of feel like it is now. Again, 3-point loss. Obviously, you don't feel great about it, but there were a few games on the schedule we had kind of circled coming into the year. Okay, Michigan, Penn State, certainly USC if they're good. It was kind of one of those kind of ideas, and so those are the top 25 teams on the schedule. Yeah, you want to beat them. Yeah, you boost your way up there, and that's been something that's hovering over the program for a long time. But what's really hurt the program is losing these games that they're supposed to win, and really stalling any progress that you can make there. And you think about it, even 2 years ago. Nebraska, before the bowl game that they made last year, 2 years ago, had a chance to win a bowl game with about 3-4 games left in the season.
Yes.
They lose 20-17 to Michigan State.
That's right.
Next week, lose to Maryland. Right now, next two opponents for Nebraska, Michigan State and Maryland.
How dare you?
So, I mean, it's almost part of it is kind of, we've just kind of been through that already.
Why'd you point that out?
Also, as bad news, Buck, I also want to point out.
I was going to say, strikes again. Go ahead.
Here's another one. For Matt RHULE so far, and this is, I don't know, take this in whatever way you want to. 3 years in at Nebraska, or 2 years in, 2 years in one conference game in, he's lost to Harlan Burnett, Deshaun Foster, and Biff Poggi. as 3 of his conference losses. Now, again, Poggi, maybe it's not a name, so that's still Michigan, right? But that Harlan Burnett one was tough. I mean, remember, Mel Tucker got fired earlier on in the year, and he took over, and so that was kind of the. There's been some bad ones already under the Rhule tenure. Is my point. And so these ones, I don't think there's anything we can assume. I think a lot of people see Michigan State as a solid team, but he can't be outcoached here.
So a coach that's already been fired at UCLA, and 2 coaches who were essentially interim coaches.
Yeah.
And let's be real. Poggi he cost Michigan a touchdown on Saturday, giving us that Hail Mary. I wasn't thrilled the way we were handling things right before half. I got the feeling there was a disagreement maybe between Rhule and Holgorsen when we had the ball. Call timeout. Don't just run it. Let's try to get in field goal range. Maybe score a touchdown. Let's do something. And then all of a sudden, Michigan doesn't call timeout. Rhule does something really smart, whether you liked what he was doing before that or not. Personally, I'm an aggressive guy. Let's go get points, or try to. The ball's in the hands of, is Dylan Riola our best player right now? Probably.
Yeah.
The ball's in the hands of your best player. Let's go do something. If you don't convert, you pin them deep with one of your other best players, the punter. Okay. That's neither here nor there. I mean, he just doesn't call timeout. And Rhule's like, you know what? I'm going to let the clock go to 0. Call timeout. Hail Mary touchdown. Thank you very much. Sharon Moore and Biff Poggi. Oh, man.
Do you see Sharon Moore had no comment on that? Because he was asked about where he's watching it from or whatever. And
what's he supposed to say?
Yeah, I wouldn't say anything.
That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I should have been there. Oh, wait, I chose not to be there. Again, that was part of the reason I picked Nebraska. We were fresh. They were banged up. On our home field. They're obviously on the road. True freshman quarterback. We haven't experienced one. They didn't have their head coach. Not having their head coach cost them at least a touchdown.
That's additional frustration, too.
I know.
Still, the fact they didn't bring their head coach. I was disrespected all offseason, and now they just walk away with like, whatever, we'll never think about it again.
That's why I'm not talking 14 million words a minute right now. It's just, you hit me with so much right out of the gate,
Oh,
Bad
sorry,
News
yeah.
Bach. No, it was great. It was great. You're forcing my 2 brain cells to think here. All right, so let's look. I do agree. Michigan State is a must-not-lose game. We're just going to keep phrasing it that way. I just like it. Must-not-lose game. For multiple reasons. Number one, we're 0-2 in the Big Ten. And some fans might be like, do we really think we were going to do a lot? Are we going to be in Indy? Well, first of all, you never know. Okay, but yeah, you don't want to be 0-2 in the Big Ten. Do you realize that to get to my magical 8 wins that I was asking for, I predicted 9, okay? My magical 9, we just have to go 5-4 in the Big Ten, just be just over 500 and win the bowl game to get to 9. Or you can be 4-5. You can be under 500 in the Big Ten and win the bowl game and get to 8 wins. Have you even thought about that?
I haven't thought about it as far as conference record.
Because we started out 3-0.
Yeah.
I had not thought about the coaches you named a minute ago. That's all right, though. We got a bye week. Jake is clearly moving quicker through the grieving process than I am. Already looking ahead to Michigan State. Phenomenal job, by the way. Somebody pointed out, I forget which texter, the confidence. I think right now you can, and Matt Rhule said, and that's why I put it in the headline of the show today, I don't want to act like we were just a play or 2 away, which is why I was like, how far away does Matt Rhule think we are? I think what he's really saying, if we act like we were just a play or 2 away, hey, it's not that big a deal. Let's go do a normal bye week. No, we have things we need to get better at. And I think that's the point of emphasis he wants to make. Like, no, guys, we lost by 3. We're technically 1 play away. Let's not act like that because we got things we got to get better at that are worth more than just 1 or 2 plays or 3 points in a game. It was a 3-point game. And I spent a lot of yesterday's show talking about it was a 3-point game, despite what everyone wants to say. Oh, they were dominated. Oh, they were manhandled up front. We were manhandled up front, but it was still a 3-point game, which is actually kind of impressive. I mean, at times you felt like we were playing like 6 on 11. And I'm not trying to be rude, but that's what it felt like, which kind of makes it impressive what we were able to do offensively. We got to get better in the trenches. or 4-5, 5-4 in the Big Ten, that might be harder than I could have imagined it would be. And I think that's what RHULE's saying is, yes, we were within 3 points, guys. In this press conference yesterday, he goes, I don't want to act like we were just a play or two away. I think he's saying we were a play or two away on Saturday, but it's a long season. And he might view it as we are more than just a play or two away from winning the amount of games that we need to. And we need to get better now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think, and part of it's too, I think, is you might be a play or two away from Michigan. There's some better teams in this conference. But the other thing is, and I wonder, it's tough because everybody's kind of been phrasing it or thinking about it differently. And a lot of people are saying Nebraska, this close to getting blown out or whatever. The way that they were dominated and somehow was able to overcome it and make that a closer game. Again, part of that 3-point loss is one thing. You scored late to make it a 3-point, like you went to the onside kick thing. But if Michigan plays Nebraska again, what's your confidence level you get the same result? Because that's where I'm a little bit more concerned is this fixable against the level of a team like Michigan?
Because now other teams have this on tape and they have a blueprint. So I went ahead and I looked at our next 3 opponents. Do you think we'll be favored in all 3 games?
It depends on what happens in the first one. But as of right now, I would think so.
So it's Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota. They're a combined 9-2 on the season so far. Just throwing that out there. Now, they didn't go and play the Giants, the Patriots, and the Bills in their preseason, in their non-conference, which is kind of treated like the preseason right now. But they did play teams like Boston College and USC so far. They played teams like Wisconsin. All right, Cal, actually, Minnesota had one of the best defenses in the country. And they're still a good defense. But statistically, they were like number 1 in points allowed, et cetera, et cetera. Cal beats them 27-14, which kind of surprised me. Do you remember Cal lost their top 5 running backs to the transfer portal? Do you recall that from the offseason?
I do remember that. And then the other thing is last week, so I thought, okay, maybe Cal's not too bad. They got shut out by San Diego State. It was like 34-0 or something.
I have no idea what to make of the Cal Bears.
Yeah. Or what that means for Minnesota.
I know. I don't pay a lot of attention to them. Maybe that's part of the reason. Yeah. I'm like, how do you get beat 34-0 by San Diego State? And then you go out and you drop 27 on Minnesota, who was the number 1 overall defense in the country at the time, beat them by 13 points. And whether you like or dislike PJ Fleck or not, he's a good football coach. His antics drive some people nuts. His lack of wearing socks with dress shoes just amazes me and how he doesn't get blisters. That's my biggest takeaway, dude. I get blisters so quick. All right. Anything else from the text line? We pretty much established that Michigan is a must-not-lose game. Anything else from the text line? Michigan State.
Let's see here. Ted says, is 8 wins enough, though, for this season to be considered successful?
Yes. I've said that all offseason. Have I not been consistent with that, Jake?
Yeah.
We're here in 10-2, and we're here in college football playoff. That's phenomenal. Dude, I cannot tell you how happy I would have been had we beaten Michigan. I cannot tell you how happy I will be if we're 4-1 after beating Michigan State, to be honest with you. Because that is now officially dubbed a must-not-lose game. And we will probably, especially if we beat Michigan State, be favored in our next 4 games. Northwestern has a sub-500 record. So I stopped at the next 3 because I was trying to make a point that their combined record was 9-2 over the next 3 games. Maryland, man, that team looks good every year, the first 6 games of the year. I never know what to make of them, though.
And their coach, Mike Loxley, who every year I'm going, I don't know, maybe hot seat type talk. He's got like some crazy streak of their non-con. They win every year. You're right. They have like a 16 or 21, or I can't remember what the record is, but they've won so many different non-con games in a row. It's among the nation's lead.
And I don't know what to make of their most recent win, 27-14 over Wisconsin, because, I don't know, Wisconsin seems really bad. And they got that schedule coming up, too. I mean, them in Florida, they might just throw in the white T-shirt now and say, we're going to start recruiting and hit the transfer portal. We're good for this year. I mean, my goodness. But yeah, Maryland, they look pretty good, but they do a lot of times. And then in the last half of the year, they end up 8-4 after starting like 6-0. So I don't know what to make. I think what does catch my attention about them this year and has had me paying attention since day one is their true freshman quarterback is legit. If he's not playing us, exciting and fun to watch. And he makes plays with his legs. Our next 2 opponents have quarterbacks who will run. Aiden Childs averages 10 carries a game. He's a talented dude. Maryland's true frosh QB. He can run. He can make plays. So we'll see what happens. This is why in the preseason, when people are like, check mark win, check mark win, check mark win, I'm like, what? Like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what these teams are going to look like. We're 4 games in, and I still don't know what to make of Maryland. I know they're exciting to watch so far, and the thing that really catches my attention about them is their quarterback. He's also a true freshman. Can we take advantage of that? We just played a true freshman quarterback. Truth be told, though, Underwood played fine. He didn't make the big mistake that you're trying to force a true freshman or confuse a true freshman into making. He had the one 37-yard touchdown run where the only thing that touched him was oxygen. But, I mean, he didn't do a lot through the air, completed 52% of his passes. But you couldn't force him into that big mistake that you're hoping. They didn't have to. Michigan could just run the ball. All right. Anything else off the text line?
Yeah, a few different thoughts here. 0778 says Michigan State's not just a must-win game. It's how did we win type of game. So interesting to break that
Do you
down.
agree with that right now? Do you agree?
I mean, I think it could look, not necessarily.
No, I don't agree with that.
I think you just get a win.
Yes. Go ahead. You and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
If we win 3-2 or 101 to 100, first of all, that'd be amazing. I don't care. Or if it's 50-2, I don't care. Just get a win. It is a must not lose game officially.
Now, if they give up 250 yards rushing, I understand what he's saying. Like it can look ugly, and you could have bigger concerns.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
I already have those concerns.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
I don't know.
That's true. Do the concerns become bigger? I think is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like, because they're there. Can we lessen the concerns because we got better during the bye week, at least a little bit? Okay. Or do the concerns just widen? Because now you're in Big Ten play, and now you're facing Big Ten teams with Big Ten O-lines and Big Ten teams win in the trenches. That's where Big Ten teams win. So, okay, I still am going to say I don't know if this sounds ridiculously obvious. Winning the game is by far the most important thing. But if we go out and we give up 250 rushing yards, we're still going to be 4-1, but we're going to be like, all right, who's next and what do they got in the backfield and up front? So that's a fair point. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, and then too, I think it's just like for battling for your positioning in the Big Ten, right? If you come out that loss against Michigan, and I saw some polls, they didn't drop you in the power rankings, right? It's like, okay, well, that's kind of what you expected. 3-point loss to Michigan, who's ranked right above Nebraska or thought to be right above Nebraska. So I get it. If you struggle against Michigan State and Michigan State's maybe lower on the totem pole and maybe you eke out a win, it's still like, all right, well, Nebraska seems to be sliding here. But again, to me, nice to win those Michigan games would be huge for the program, but Nebraska needs to start winning these games. And to your point earlier, you look at Michigan State, Maryland, and Minnesota. 3-0 would be fantastic. It's what people are expecting. It's what we want, right? But how many Nebraska teams over the last 10 years has been able to do that with that type of schedule? I would say not many. I'm not sure of any.
Is that what you expect? The next 3 weeks, 3-0. Northwestern's the least good of those 4. So are we expecting 4-0 over the next 4 weeks?
I think at this point you have to totally be able to expect to beat Northwestern and UCLA left on the schedule. But the next 3 weeks, I don't think at this point I necessarily expect it. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I think they've shown improvement. They've looked good, but there were enough troublesome signs in those games to think, Nebraska's just not hovering over Minnesota or Maryland or Michigan State. I think they're, they might have a slight edge, but they're not way better.
You know what? I got a tier chart in front of me I was going to talk about. This is based on week 4 performances. All right, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 is awful. Okay, so the performance in tier 1, Indiana, they're the only one in there. I mean, the massacre in Bloomington was just something else. Illinois was number 9 in the country, right? Yeah. Do you realize that? Yeah. By the way, guess who's in tier 5 awful? It is Illinois and Wisconsin.
Yikes.
All right, so tier 2 is based on week 4 performance, was USC, Michigan, Washington, Maryland, Iowa, Oregon. So we haven't seen Nebraska or Michigan State yet. This is not my tier ranking, by the way. So this is a completely independent Big Ten body. Tier 3, and they marked this as so. Tier 1 was elite. Tier 2 was questionable. Tier 5, we talked about already, was labeled as awful. Tier 3, we're going to go back to that because I haven't told you who's in it. Questionable is Michigan State, Purdue, Rutgers, and that's it. So we are technically rated a tier 4 according to these people. And it's just us in tier 4 concerning, which I think is very fair. It's very fair to call it concerning. So we'll see. You know, you look at previous tiers because they kind of come out with these tier performances after each and every game. There's been weeks where we were up at the top, like people are going to roll their eyes when I say this, but we played them, Houston, Christian, Akron. Okay. I think after the first Cincinnati game, we were tier 2. Michigan State's always been within one tier of us. So to get back to what a successful season would be, I would hear 10-2. I would hear college football playoff. I'm like, man, you never know. I mean, who saw Indiana coming last year? Who saw Indiana coming again this year? Who's going to be Indiana this year? Oh, it's going to be Indiana again. Frickin' Kurt Signetti. Oh, good Lord. I said, for me, I predicted 9-3 because I was sipping the Kool-Aid. I was not chugging it, but I was sipping it. Admittedly, I've talked about it. I want to sip the Kool-Aid. I want to have something positive to look forward to. I do. I also try to be unbiased. I try the best I can. But I said 8-4 is success, and here is why. Because it's 7 wins is the most wins we've had in 9 years, a year ago. Okay. So if we get 8, that's now the most amount of wins we've had in, 9-10 years. Let's just keep going up. So at some point, we got to be 15-0. Just to be clear, if we keep going by this scale. But I was like, no, let's just keep going. Because if we win less than 7, we've gone backwards. I don't know how anybody under God's hot sun could say that is a success. Or if we win 7 again, that means we're 7-6 at the end of the year, which is barely over 500. Wasn't RHULE 2 games under 500 for his tenure at Nebraska here when the season started? Because if we're 7-6, that means we didn't get better from last year versus what was preseason ranked the worst or easiest schedule in the Big Ten. And if I'm right, I know he was under 500 as Nebraska's head coach. It was either 1 or 2 games. That would mean he's still under 500 3 years in, which is not what anybody wants. But I can't define that as successful. So for me, I was like the bottom of the barrel of what I would consider a success, not jumping for joy. Success is 8 games because we're getting better.
Yeah, so he's 12-13 coming into the year. Now
so he'd be exactly 500.
He's 15-14 now. They're 3-1.
But if we finish 7-6.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because he was 1 game under,
Yeah,
we'd be one game over during the season. He'd be exactly 500 after 3 years. So even 8 wins would put him over 500. Good Lord, the barometer and the goalposts have moved over the past 20 years. But my point is that's why I said 8-4, because that was my bare minimum of successful. I'm not going to jump for joy. If we won 9 games or more, things that used to get Nebraska coaches fired, I would jump for joy because the goalposts have changed, and hopefully we can get them going the other direction. We got to take a break. I ain't planning on talking about any of that bad news, Bob. Does what I just said make sense?
Yeah. I mean, again, going back, we say it all the time. It's what your preseason predictions are. A lot of times will decide how bad you're feeling after these losses and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, if I think Nebraska's on pace, they look better. I think they're still on pace for 8 wins. But again, all that is considered when you think, okay, well, you got to probably win 2 of these next 3 then, and preferably 3.
So when I predicted us to win 9 games, because that was my official prediction, was 9-3. I predicted 4-0. So I already missed. But I also said there's a 4-game stretch where we're going to be favored in every game. Probably Michigan State, Maryland. Who's after that? We've been talking about Minnesota, thank you, and Northwestern. And I said, when's the last time Nebraska won every single game they're supposed to? So I said somewhere along the way, the odds are we stub our toe. The ball is weird shaped. It bounces funny. It doesn't bounce our way. So I said 7-1 going into November. And then batting 500 in November, which is obviously when we play Penn State, Iowa, USC, and now whatever's left of UCLA. So that was my 9-3. If you look at it now, if we beat every team that we're supposed to and we lose to every team that we're going to be an underdog to, that means we would beat Michigan State, we'd beat Minnesota, we'd beat Maryland, we'd beat Northwestern, we'd lose to USC, we would have lost to Michigan, we'd lose to Penn State. I don't know if we'll be favored or not. Let's just say we're favored, we're at home, they're winning games 3-2, although they just dropped a record-setting Iowa high score of all-time of 38 on Rutgers, a game we both got wrong. That would put us at 8-4, 9-3. Just beating the teams that we're supposed to. Not even beating anyone in an upset. Can we avoid losing to teams that we should beat over the next month? All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. Second half today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds, 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
You guys can't drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
M-Suits Clothiers, Lincoln's favorite men's store, is ready for homecoming season. There's no time to wait. Visit today to help your student find that perfect outfit for their homecoming. M-Suits has a selection of ties and bow ties to match any homecoming dress color you can think of. M-Suits Clothiers, 1 block south of 56th and Pine Lake Road. Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's. 435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm just going to give you a heads up because we do like to look at the full picture, not just the corner of the picture that we like, where it's all a valley full of daisies and roses. We're going to bad news box the crap out of this segment, and then we're going to move on with our life. And I think I will officially be done with my Nebraska grieving fandom process of the Michigan game because I'm just ready to be. So let's bad news box the crap out of this segment. Then we'll move on. Before we do that, as a former Husker and NFL player, I'm a little bit of a health nut. Hydration and recovery start at home. That's why I teamed up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and it protects my water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, I added a Culligan reverse osmosis bottle-quality water right at my tap. Great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at CulliganHuskers.com. That's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln, water you love. Go Big Red. So I have some good news at the end of this segment. Do have good news. All right, start with the bad news. We no longer have the number one graded special teams in the country. Minnesota does. I don't know what to follow that up with. But I'll save the good news for the end of. Oh, that's right. You know, we have a decommitment from the class, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I warned you, we're bad news balking the crap out of this segment. So if you want to come back in 15 minutes, you can, or you can stay with us. And it helps the grieving process, ladies and gentlemen. You have to cry the tears before you can feel better.
That's right.
And the next segment will start to feel better. Go ahead, Jake.
Acknowledge the
yes,
pain. I like
yes.
it. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jake.
So Devion Bonwell-Witt has decommitted from Nebraska. If you remember, this was a sort of class of 2026, and a wide receiver from South Dakota, one of the top-rated players there. Of course, it's not over at this point with the class of 2026, but not preferred. So looks like I was trying to look at his timeline. He committed on October 7th of last year, so he's been committed for quite some time. But I don't know, maybe it was the Michigan game.
Well, like you said, guys decommit all the time. First of all, as we know. So I'm sure they've got somebody else they're talking to, or maybe they can get him back on board because guys recommit too. So we'll see what happens. That's just the latest on his recruitment process. So we decided to go back and look the past couple of years. All right. Because I had forgotten about that Michigan State game 2 years ago. So if you recall, Nebraska, Matt Rhule's tenure, okay, we started off, let me see here, 5-3 in the first 8 games. In the last 4 games, we just needed 1 win. We go to play Michigan State in East Lansing, and we were on a 3-game win streak. Did you tell me they lost 6 in a row?
Michigan State had lost 6 in a row. The Mel Tucker fiasco was being worked through. They already fired him.
And we unfortunately end up losing 20-17. A game that I remember watching that now that you pointed it out to me. I remember genuinely being surprised. Like Michigan State had lost 6 in a row. We had lost 3 in a row. Harburg was doing his thing at the quarterback. He was out running people over. It didn't go that well that day in East Lansing. You had an interesting stat about that game when it came to penalties, too.
Yeah, well, if you remember, Nebraska had a certain Achilles heel that year, but it wasn't penalties. That game, they had 0 penalties for 0 yards. And Michigan State had 7 for 70. Man, talk about winning that battle. It sounds like you should win that game. However, I was saying, the Achilles heel for Nebraska that year, turnovers.
Yeah.
Nebraska had 3 turnovers, 1 fumble loss and 2 interceptions, and Michigan State had 0.
Yep. And then I remember this one in Lincoln, the field goal late, Maryland over Nebraska.
Yep.
All right. And then in overtime, Nebraska loses at Wisconsin. And then how many times has the score been 13-10 when we played Iowa? Like too often. The bad guys won that one. So as we know, we didn't go to a bowl game. This past year, okay, we were 5-1 at the bye week, the first bye week. Then we all know what happened to Indiana. That didn't go the way we wanted or even close. Ohio State, again, I remember getting eaten alive, because I dared to say Nebraska could go to Columbus after losing 56-7 to Indiana and saying, these aren't names and faces on a video game. They don't play at 100% every week. They're human beings who are up and down. I said they can go to Ohio State and earn respect. And with 7 minutes left in the game, we had the lead. Unfortunately, did not get the win. There was just 1, 2, or 3,000 questionable calls in that game, if you remember. Ohio State gets the win, and then UCLA comes in, they win. Then USC, we had a chance to win, but we do mollywop, curb stomp, and whoop Wisconsin's rear end sideways. Then there's another 13-10 Iowa game. But again, the second half of the season, I just talked about Maryland starting red hot or having a chance to do things in the second half of the season built on momentum they had in the first half. That's something Nebraska needs to get going on this year. You know, the next 4 games, we got a chance to build some momentum, and then hopefully in November, capitalize on a couple of things. Get a win versus Iowa at home. Is it fair to expect to curb stomp whatever's left of UCLA at this point?
I would hope so.
And then just see what happens versus USC and Penn State. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's kind of the bad news. We did that, the bad news box segment. Didn't you have music you wanted to play or something?
Yeah, I got a little sounder.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Bad news.
We might have to make that a thing. I like that.
Bad news, Barrett. Awesome.
Dude, sometimes you just got to get it out. You just got to get it out. Is there anything else we need to get out? Because I do have some positivity here before we end this segment. And then we are I'm ready to move on from the Michigan game. Okay. But do we have anything else we need to get out of our system before we become a little bit less bad news bockish?
I'll just read one more text here. Because we have to be cursed. How does Indiana and Miami make it to the top 10 rankings? We can't get close to a 9-win season.
You remember where Penn State was at one point? SMU, the death penalty in the 80s. I don't know if this is making me feel better, just dragging me back down, because there's other things popping into my head. I'm done with that. I'm done with the bad news box segment. I like what you came up with, though. I know it's not music, but I just like how you put that together. All right. We can do a brief comparison this year to last year stats-wise. Is that something that interests you, or are you one of those guys that's like, oh, it's Akron, Houston Christian, it jacks up all the stats in our favor, but we also, 4 games into last year, we had a couple of games in there similar. Does that stuff matter to you at all?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because that's the point of those games. I mean, that's what was exciting about those games, is that they did put it on statistically, where Nebraska hasn't been able to do that as much over the years.
Why don't we do that next segment? Here's my thing. Here's my last bad news Bach thing. I've got some bad news for you. I said that like I'm going to enjoy this. I'm really not. That's just me trying to have a little fun with things that aren't necessarily the most fun before we get to some positivity here. But over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be favored in all 4 games. Okay. We can go 4-0. We can go 3-1. But with the question marks that we have being in rather key areas of trying to win Big Ten football games, the trenches, what happens if we go 2-2? What if we lose to Michigan State, man, and go halfway across the country and Maryland doesn't go well, or Minnesota on a short week on a Friday night up there, a team that's beaten us, 6 out of 7 times, 5 in a row? This is just depressing. This is not making me feel better. We have to talk about all the possibilities, whether we want to or not. Like, what if we walk out of October 2-2? I mean, it's not a rhetorical question. What are your thoughts?
Well, if we go through all these stats, and you were kind of hitting on it earlier about November, that's almost as bad as the top 25 straight loss. All the close losses. November record has been something that has ailed this program for quite some time as well. So obviously it gets a little bit more difficult. Iowa's had their way with Nebraska. That's part of it. So I mean, it's just intriguing altogether. October. I mean, if they don't have the best October, like you said, split it 2-2. You're at 5 wins. I think you're somewhat shifting your goals to make a bowl game again, and that's not where obviously Nebraska wants to be. Now, you would think that you would still have UCLA ahead of you, so you might presume the bowl and then hope to get an upset bid. So I don't know if it would be that bad, but at that point, you'd have gone through the 2-2 and the frustration that makes it. So you'd wonder where the team would be. It's just intriguing. I mean, I don't know. I'm not at the point. Sometimes I'll get to a point where when teams are being overlooked, and they'll say it's going to be a dogfight for Nebraska to get through that. I don't know if I'd quite label this a dogfight, because I think Nebraska still, in my mind, again, should have the edge, favored in these games. I just don't want this year's version of Nebraska to prove to me that it's like the last couple of years. I mean, all it's going to take is one game, and then we're going to be right back into the hole of this is the same Nebraska.
So that was something Matt Rhule said at his press conference, and I do have his press conference notes. Actually, from Saturday, we never went through them on Saturday, but from yesterday as well. We can do that in hour 2. But one thing he said is he did not get the feeling of, oh, here we go again. And I didn't either. Nebraska played inspired on Saturday. How many times in the past have you watched a Nebraska team at a certain point look like they gave up? Like they played inspired. What I can say is they played inspired. They just weren't better than Michigan. Michigan was better, and that's not the first time that's happened to someone who's played Michigan. That is not our goal. That does not make it okay. But he flat out said, I did not feel like it was a, oh, here we go again situation. I think there is definitely a reason why he likes this team, why he likes the mental mindset of this team. They fought 10-0, boom, 10-10, 17-10. Hey, their interim coach cost them a touchdown. Well, you didn't bring your head coach and you chose not to. So thank you, Hail Mary touchdown. We're going to tie it. Then you get a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Dylan Riola right down the field for a touchdown. Now, you don't want to be in a position where you need an onside kick to have a chance to win a game. But for those who say we were just dominated, we were dominated in the trenches, but we were not dominated as a team. That's not what we want. That's not our goal. And here's some of the positivity coming out now. I honestly thought that segment would help make me feel a little bit better, get some of that negative juju out. It did not. I'm ready to be done with it. Like, I'm ready to look ahead to Michigan State now, and I want to thank you for it.
Yeah,
like, I do.
Welcome.
I came in ready to talk about Michigan for the whole 2 hours, and you threw a bomb at me right away, and I want to thank you for it. Bad news, Bach. I appreciate it. But here's some of the good news. Yes, we're probably going to be favored in all 4 games. In fact, if you look at it, we are given a 77% chance to beat Michigan State, which I got to be honest, that I'm surprised it's that high.
A little high, yeah.
But we'll take it. All right. It's actually lower versus Maryland, by the way. 64% chance to beat Maryland. 53% chance to beat Minnesota. I'm not surprised that's about 50-50. And then Northwestern, it's like almost 80%. That doesn't mean we're going to go 4-0. But even if we go 3-1, we are bowl eligible before November. Now, when is the last time that happened? Was there a guy named Pelini roaming our sidelines?
I would think that would still be Riley, but
was that 2016?
2016, yeah.
Okay, we can look it up. I'm not that interested in it. My point is there is some good news here. Now that we got through that bad news box segment, I felt like I had one other thing. I probably do. I'll think about it during the break with my 2 brain cells. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town. Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Byrne as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Are your feet just killing you and you feel like all hope is lost? Say goodbye to discomfort and hello to pain relief at Brown's Shoe Fit. They offer expert advice along with high-quality products to help you find the right solution tailored to your specific needs. Need a different width? Not a problem. Brown's carries a wide range of widths in store. Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Football game days are fun for the whole family, but not every child is ready for 4 quarters in the stadium. That's why the Lincoln Children's Museum offers game day play dates for kids ages 5 to 12. While you enjoy the game, your kids enjoy their own adventure at the museum, conveniently located just steps from the stadium. Registration required. And the fun isn't just on game days. The museum is open 6 days a week with 3 floors of hands-on play and activities. Out-of-town families, make the most of your weekend in Lincoln. Visit lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Farmers know it all starts with the soil. At Carbon Connections, they're helping you unlock its full potential. Their high-quality humic acid improves nutrient uptake, boosts root development, and enhances soil structure, so your crops get more from every acre. It doesn't stop there. With a full lineup of crop protection products, they help you reduce synthetic inputs while protecting yields and profits. Smarter inputs, healthier soils, better returns. It's time to grow more naturally. Visit Carbon Connections on Facebook or call them today at 402-947-1476 to learn how they can help your farm thrive. Carbon Connections, unlocking your potential.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Bad news.
So we had a texter request that we play it again. I like it, so we agreed to play it again. Why does something so bad make me so happy?
That's a great approach to giving you some bad news.
Oh, man. That was great. So I proceeded to look into November just real quickly at our percentage chances that were given to beat the 4 opponents in November. USC were given, if you want to round, 39.5, a 40% chance of winning. And I told Jake during the break, we're only given a 52% chance to beat UCLA. Like, what in the blue hell is going on?
I don't know how they get those percentages.
52%. The low, okay. Of all the games we're favored to win, that is the lowest. That is what? So, okay, we're given a 53% chance to beat Minnesota. I got to be honest, if we'd have been an underdog, I would have been surprised. So, okay, fine. How are we given a lesser of a chance to beat UCLA? Is it because we're... So I remember reading a stat here halfway through last season, and I quit keeping track or quit paying attention. I didn't see an update. Big Ten teams that travel 2 time zones. There were like 1 in 12 at that time. So is it because we're traveling 2 time zones and you lose or gain 2 hours? However you look at that. UCLA lost to UNLV, then got mollywopped by New Mexico 35-10. And of course, Utah just walked all over them 43-10. I told Jake, they're averaging 14 points a game. As a defense, your goal is to hold your opponent to 17 points or less. If you reach your goal at 17 points, you've given up 3 more points than they average.
They're rough, yeah.
I don't understand. It doesn't matter. Michigan State is a must-not-lose game, and that is the most – is it the most important game now of Matt Rhule's tenure so far? Do we not just talk about that? But is this now not more important?
It's funny because they've got, Steve Sipple always says that the next game's always the most important. It quickly turns to it. I mean, again, and that's where I kind of come up with the must not lose. It's not that he you don't sit back and say, well, he needs this win. This win would catapult him into a different discussion. If they get the win, it's expected, and then you move on. You say the next game is the most important, right? It's one of those games. That's why I call it must not lose. But the opposite of that is if you do lose that game, all of a sudden it is circled as the most important because it's the year 3 Matt Rhule coming off the loss. Close game, what kind of momentum can they build into this year? So it's just, I think every game, I think we're going to go with the Steve Sipple approach. The next game is going to be the biggest one.
I really feel like this might be the most important game because of the mental ramifications, one way or the other. One way you're 4-1. You're going to be favored in your next 3 games. Not easy, not gimmies, that's for sure. We've learned that the hard way over the years. But you're like, oh, man, we bounced back. The other way, you're 3-2, and you're 0-2 in Big Ten play. You just lost 2 in a row. And probably the 2 best teams you played, you weren't able to beat. So, all right. So let's finish off the teams in November as far as who we're favored to beat and who not. So, again, USC, we're given a 40% chance to beat. UCLA, for some unknown reason, 52% chance. Penn State's a 16, which, whatever. We're given a higher percent chance to beat Iowa and Minnesota than we are UCLA. 57% chance to beat Iowa.
Huh.
Make it make sense, Jake.
I can't.
I can't either. So we were supposed to get into the stats, but I got distracted by barely being favored to beat UCLA. So we're gonna go to break. We'll come back for hour 2, and we will statistically compare. I can't believe I got that out correctly. If you couldn't tell, I was ready to say that. Statistically compare last year to this year so far. Then we'll dive into Matt Rhule's press conference. Then we got a couple of clips. And, I mean, Matt Rhule said, I don't want to act like we're just a play or 2 away. So how far away does he think Nebraska is? Or is he just trying to send a message what he wants out of his team during the bye week? And one of the clips, and this is the second time this individual has made the case for Nebraska being in the SEC. We're not moving. We're in the Big Ten. Not going to move. I get that. But is Nebraska in the wrong conference? We'll talk about that in hour 2. We'll be right back.
A business's phone is the lifeline to its customers and potential clients. That's why it's so important that you can take calls seamlessly from anywhere, whether you're on the road or in the office. Hamilton Business Technologies can help ensure your phone rings wherever you are. We can equip your headquarters and any of its locations with the right tools for smooth, professional call handling. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we know how to keep Nebraska businesses connected. Learn more at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Farmers know it all starts with the soil. At Carbon Connections, they're helping you unlock its full potential. Their high-quality humic acid improves nutrient uptake, boosts root development, and enhances soil structure, so your crops get more from every acre. It doesn't stop there. With a full lineup of crop protection products, they help you reduce synthetic inputs while protecting yields and profits. Smarter inputs, healthier soils, better returns. It's time to grow more naturally. Visit Carbon Connections on Facebook or call them today at 402-947-1476 to learn how they can help your farm thrive. Carbon Connections, unlocking your potential.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means, like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing, since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage, from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all fours and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. This month kicks off Koppel's 50th anniversary sale. We're celebrating 50 years by offering an additional $500 discount to the next 100 customers that buy a new vehicle. This is in addition to the huge savings already in place. You can take an extra $500 off our discounted price, or we can cut you a check on the spot. Celebrate with savings and see why customers have trusted Koppel since 1975. It's our way of saying thank you for all these years.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Mike, I've been thinking, our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carricker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, first and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carricker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carricker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carricker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On
93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carricker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Hour 2 of the Adam Carricker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. It is the noon hour, and you fine folks know what that means. It's the noon hour, and that means it's lunchtime. Adam Carricker, the Adam Carricker Show on The Ticket is sponsored by our good friends at Mulberry Barbecue, now with 2 locations at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Both locations are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-in sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, full slab of ribs, half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus incredible sides. Get fueled for lunch today or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. All right, we'll be on location at some point in the near future, Jake and I as well. All right, little statistical. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that word. Statistical. It's hard, but I nail it. Do I nail it, Jake?
I think so. More often than not, yeah.
Thank you. Analysis from last year to this year. All right, our rushing offense last year, after 4 games, was 87th in the country. Do you know what it is right now? It's 87th in the country.
Okay, well, there you go.
We averaged 140 yards rushing a game last year. This year, we're averaging 144. You and I talked before the season. We needed to average a minimum of 150. Minimum. That wasn't the goal. That was the minimum. Not there. RHULE even said in his press conference, I forget the exact numbers, but I think he said he wanted to average at least about 150 a game. Not quite there. And so keep in mind, this is after Michigan, but it's also after Houston Christian and Akron. So keep that in mind. The passing offense is where we have improved by far the most this year. 45th in the country last year. We're 5th in the country this year. At this point right now, we should discuss. A lot of coaches been let go lately. They just, let me see here. I'll read it directly. Oklahoma State has fired Mike Gundy, their longtime head coach. I'll be honest with you. I was surprised because Oklahoma State, I mean, you are, with all due respect, the little brother to Oklahoma who's in your same state. Then you're competing with Texas and all these Texas schools for recruits and everything else. I was surprised how long they were as good as they were under him. And I've been astonished at how bad they've become the past 2 years. You remember they were the Big 12 favorite last year? A year ago.
Yeah, for good reason. A lot of returning starters, quarterback, all that.
The number 1 running back in the entire country, number 1 rusher, everything. They didn't even come close to sniffing a bowl game. And this year, yeah, I don't know what to make of them. They're the Big 12's version of UCLA. So if we played them, we'd have a 52% chance of beating them probably, according to the odds makers. All right. I still think he's a good football coach, but things went awry in Oklahoma State, unfortunately for him, so he's been let go. Is it possible? Like Jake, is it possible? It's possible. Do you think there's a day at some point where Clemson does something similar with Dabo Swinney? He basically dared them to fire him in his press conference a week ago. And then you go out and you get curb stomped at home by Syracuse. You have the more talented team, the more veteran quarterback, the home field advantage. Your team's supposed to be extra fired up after the press conference. Dabo Swinney is a good football coach. What is he, only one of 3 active coaches who are national champions, and he's got multiple ones? And he has a 2-1 record in national championship games versus Nick Saban? He's a good football coach. Is that like, dude, is that something we could hear in the next, I can't even say the words. Just answer the question I can't get out, dude. It's crazy to me.
Well, it is crazy, and it's hard to fathom. But I mean, that's what these bad seasons can do, and you wonder if it's the best in the long term. I remember Kansas State. Bill Snyder had all this great record, goes 5-6 one year, and they're like, all right, well, that's enough of that. They try something else for a few years, and they, oh, never mind, bring it back.
I forgot they brought it back.
Yeah, so
that's right.
I don't know. I mean, I get it. Oklahoma State, your hand's almost forced. I don't know how they went 3-9 last year. Now losing to Tulsa and the way they lost to Oregon. I mean, that program is lost. I always like when a legend gets a benefit of the doubt, but it's too tough. And then when you kind of asked about Dabo again, it's almost unfathomable to think of. But then knowing that we've kind of been there before. Bobby Bowden was ran out of Florida State basically before he wanted to, and it was awkward and weird. So. It is. No matter how much you build your reputation. For Gundy's case, was it over 20 years? You're always a bad season away from being on the hot seat.
Age played a factor with Bowden, though.
Yeah,
Age does not play a factor with Dabo. By the way, his buyout, if they were to do this, and you got to keep in mind, this is a day and age where this is going to sound so stupid, you got to penny pinch because you got to pay players now. $60 million to buy him out this year, 57 next year. So he's got a little bit of. Does he have job security? That's a lot of moolah, man. That's a lot of that's like what is it? $20.5 million is the cap for revenue sharing. That's like 3 years worth of revenue sharing with your players, and that's not just football. That's all your sports. Because remember, Nebraska is going to allocate about 14.5 to their football team. All right, let's get back to Nebraska. Passing offense. We jumped up from 45th in the country after 4 games last year to 5th this year. I feel like our passing offense, our pass defense, and our special teams. Those are the 3 strengths of our team. Would you say it's fair to say?
Say that again. Passing offense, special teams, and what was the other one?
Pass defense.
Pass defense. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If you were to rank them, your confidence level, which could be different than how good they've shown so far, but your confidence level, how would you rank those 3 things? 1, 2, and 3.
I think at this point, pass defense has probably earned it again. We'll see once they play, Penn State, USC. It'll be really kind of, put to the test. Then I'd probably we talked about special teams field. I'd still put pass offense above special teams. I appreciate the strides they've made, but I'm so scarred from last year.
I'd like to see more out of the return game. And our special teams have surpassed what I hope they could be this year. But we've only not kicked the ball, because that's how we're phrasing things today. It's a must not lose game. We've only not kicked the ball out of bounds on a kickoff once out of 4 games this year. So we're vastly better. Still to continue to work on things. So I'm with you. Pass defense, pass offense, special teams. But it is like it's close. There's not a gap in like there's a wide gap after number 3. But 1, 2, and 3 are pretty close. Total offense, we're averaging 497 yards of offense a game, which is top 15th in the country. Last year, we were 66th in the country. Scoring offense, 15th in the country. So we are top 5 passing, top 15 total offense, top 15 scoring offense. Last year in those same 3 categories, we were 45th, 66th, 59th. And again, this was after our non-conference slate from a year ago, which wasn't Murderer's Row either. Do you think this year's non-con was a little easier? It probably was. But we've also played Michigan already. I don't believe we had played a Michigan-esque type team. I'm going to just quickly glance at last year's schedule just to make sure. Our first 4 games last year, just making sure I'm at UTEP. Yeah, Colorado, UNI, Illinois. So Illinois was the closest thing to Michigan. I think this year's Michigan's team is better than last year's Illinois team. Then you got UTEP and Northern Iowa. I mean, that's similar to Akron and Houston Christian. And Colorado, they played offense, but not defense.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty similar.
I think it's very comparable. 2 Power 4 teams, an FCS team, a non-Power 4 team, very comparable. So these stats, they are worth comparing. All right, rush defense. We were I knew there'd be a gap, but we were giving up 94 yards per game last year. This year, it's 174. So last year at this point, after 4 games, we were 23rd in the country. This year, we're 107th. All right, pass defense, number 1 in the country. Last year at this time, 59th. And pass efficiency, obviously, is going to be high, number 2 in the country. Last year, around 58. So all those stats are going to be similar. Total defense, we were 30th. Dude, check this out. We were 30th in the country last year. We're 22nd right now. Think about that. That's the pass defense helping us out there. 287 yards of offense a game we allowed last year, 249 a game this year. Scoring defense, we're actually up a little bit. No, that is incorrect. Sorry, I looked at the wrong number. 12.8 points per game was 18th in the country at this point last year. 13.5 points per game is 21st in the country. So relatively close, though. Not a large margin there. Where you see a lot of the jumps is our passing offense this year to last year, our pass defense this year to last year, rushing offense this year to last year, rush defense this year to last year. And then in special teams. Our return game was actually quite a bit better last year. Kickoff returns, we were 35th in the country. Right now, we're 65th. Net punting is drastically improved. We're 31st in the country. Last year, we were 113th. All right, punt returns. I'm actually surprised. We're 26th in the country. We were 79th last year. All right, what else you want to know? What else you want to compare? Anything else, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I don't like penalties and turnovers. I don't know if they have those on there. I always think that that's a pretty good measurement or barometer of if you're getting better year over year.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. Next on the chart is actually third down conversions. We're top 20. We're 24th, top 25 in the country. We were 18th last year. But third down defense, we were 11th in the country. We were 73rd in the country last year. I remember our third down defense struggling. Do you remember that UCLA game? They converted 7 straight third downs. Do you remember that? I do, because I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Our third down defense has drastically improved, and that's going to be your pass defense, which is why that number has drastically improved. Okay, you wanted to see, what do you want to see? Time of possession, we're 18th in the country. We have controlled the ball a lot this year, despite, and we actually ran the ball fairly well the first 3 games. We even won the time of possession versus Michigan, just big plays on their part. We're 18th in the country. Strength of schedule, it says our schedule is harder this year through 4 games than last year. 111th in the country last year, 63rd this year. Does that surprise you?
That does surprise me a little bit. I obviously Michigan doing a lot of heavy lifting there, but Illinois turned out to be a top 15 team. So
they were 24th when we played them.
Yeah,
and Michigan was 21st when we played them this year. Okay, efficiency on special teams. Let me see, where'd that go? Efficiency on special teams, we're 81st in the country. That didn't seem right. We were 99th last year. Efficiency overall, 39th in the country, 110th last year. So I don't actually see turnovers and penalties on this particular chart. I do know off the top of my head that we have yet to lose the the turnover battle in a game. We've tied twice. We tied with Michigan Saturday, and we've won it twice. So we're technically 2-0-2 when it comes to winning the turnover battle through 4 games, and we've won the penalty battle 3 of 4 times. So that is vastly improved. Our special teams and average starting field position for our opponent, for us, as compared to last year, is vastly in our favor. I do know that, even though I don't have specific comparisons here off the top of my head.
Is there happen to be red zone offense? Because I think that would also be comparable, because they struggled last year and they've been struggling so far this year.
You know what they did? I clicked out of it. Let me get back into it. Real quick, is there anything off the text line there?
Looking at a few different things here. Good thought here from Robbie off of YouTube, actually. It says, being second to last in the Big Ten in rushing defense this year is unacceptable. Did not expect that to start year 3.
I don't have a whole lot to add. I agree with you. I agree, and I don't have a whole lot to add. So for some reason, I can't pull up the article now, but this popped up. Memorial Stadium's intimidation factor. Out of 18 teams in the Big Ten, where do you think we rank? We weren't in top 20 in the country, according to EA Sports video game before the season. Where do you think we rank in the Big Ten?
There's a lot of good stadiums in the Big Ten. But Memorial Stadium's got to be one of them. 6th,
8th.
8th. Yeah.
I think sometimes the win-loss record of the home team is factored into this too much, because I would put Memorial Stadium ahead of Michigan Stadium. They have one of the largest stadiums in the country. Them and Tennessee go back and forth every year. Tennessee, what is it, the 8th largest stadium in the country? I heard that like 59,000 times when Tennessee played Georgia, and game day was there 2 weeks ago. But they go back and forth as far as the largest. But architecture killed Michigan's home field advantage. They built that thing out, not up. Memorial Stadium is absolutely more intimidating than Michigan Stadium, the atmosphere, because of the architecture. Purely.
Yeah, and I would I do think if the Nebraska
they're factoring wins and losses in there.
If Nebraska was winning at home, I think they'd be ranked significantly higher.
I think you factor that in a little bit, but you got to. It's more about like, if my team sucks, does that mean the atmosphere isn't as good? I mean, maybe at halftime, I'm not saying Nebraska, but maybe at another place, if your team sucks, maybe at halftime the stadium's empty, but at kickoff, like, it can be rowdy as all get out. Auburn pops into my head because they had a rough year last year, but you watch the kickoffs of their home games, they're going crazy. Then by halftime, it wasn't going great. Fans were gone. But I say the atmosphere is great, even if the teams in general across college football might not be as good. So you got to factor in wins and losses, but the most important thing has to be the actual intimidation factor, the actual stadium and fans and atmosphere and everything else. So no, I couldn't find it. I'm willing to bet that our red zone efficiency is not as high as last year. I'm willing to go out on a limb there. All right. Anything else off the text line real quick?
Let's see. I'm not necessarily seeing anything. I did have a question for you regarding Mike Gundy. Now that it just came to my mind. Do you think he's the final coach from your playing days that you played against in college? I'm trying to think of who else would be in there.
Wow, that's a great question.
At least at their school.
Mac Brown would have been had
Yeah.
he still been at UNC because he was at Texas.
That's true.
Vince Young. But no. All the Colorado coaches are gone. Gundy's gone. Pinkel's gone at Missouri. I think that's it.
Yeah.
He was the last one. Dude, that's crazy.
I think other than Kirk Ferentz, and I could be wrong, there might be somebody else in there. I think he was the longest tenured coach heading into the season.
He also has more wins than any other Big Ten coach in history now. Did you realize that?
Kirk, yeah.
Just happened like a year or two, or a week or two ago. I'm sorry. Matt Rhule in his press conference did say he's over the, and I quote, lazy comparisons of Patrick Mahomes and Dylan Riola. Okay, so I have to share this. So I'm in the bathroom as I get to Memorial Stadium, and I just randomly hear these two kids like debating, and the one kid goes, "No, Patrick Mahomes emulates Dylan Riola," and I'm sorry. I had to chuckle at that. Whether you think there's similarities or not, there is. I'm just like, I was like, this kid was so adamant. He's like 8 years old. He's like so adamant that it was the other way around. Okay. So I mentioned Bryce Underwood's stats versus Nebraska on Saturday. He had zero interceptions, 0 touchdowns, 52.1% completion yards, only threw for 105. So through the air, they didn't have to do much, but he didn't do much. All right, Justice Haynes is the leading rusher in the Big Ten out of Michigan now, 537 yards. Emmett Johnson is number 2 at 391 yards. I think it's because he gets a lot of carries. We need, and Rhule even mentioned in his press conference, we need a number 2 back to step up. And that, honestly, I think it's got to be Quentin Ives because of what we need the number 2 back to be. We need it to be a power back, a short yardage back. If we're going to go for it on our first drive, what was it, 4th and 2? 2 yards can be a long way to go, but like 4th and 1, 4th and inches at the goal line, either put Harburg back there, snap it quick and let's go, do an RPO with him, do a read option, or it's got to be Ives. Put Cam Lenhart at fullback or whoever you want to put back there. Bring back the monster formation from the Wisconsin game last year, and let's roll. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, well, it's here, so I'm going to read it. This was something I saw. Scott Frost has his 16th consecutive win as UCF's head coach. Okay, we're going to move on. All right. I added it as a note, so I just read it. You got to keep in mind, I'll watch games all day Saturday, and I'll just make notes, and I come back to them when the shows come around the following week. So there's not a whole lot of proofreading once I've written them down. Do you want to go through the games decided by single digits at Nebraska for each coach? No? Yes? Pelini was 20-11. Bill Callahan, who everyone wants to malign, and I get it, was 10-7. Riley 7-10. Frost 5-22. Rhule 4-11 now. All right, it was pointed out that Rhule 6-13 in Big Ten play. Okay, let's see here. This was after, in the postgame press conference, all right, on Saturday, a quote from Rhule. "I don't like where we're at right now. I feel like someone hit me with a hammer. I wanted to win the football game. I thought we would win the football game," end quote. What are your thoughts on that? And obviously, this was, right after the game. Emotions are still high, but what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a colorful quote, so people kind of did pay attention to it. I think it's a solid response. I mean, that's kind of what Nebraska fans kind of felt like too, and of course him being the coach, being even more bought into it. I would imagine so. I mean, they were that close. Nebraska just, I mean, that was part of this whole thing is Nebraska just put so much onto this game. You bring back obviously the '95 team. You have the Bud Crawford leading out of the tunnel. You have their biggest recruiting weekend since I don't know when, and you get that close. So, I mean, again, it's a lot better than losing in a blowout fashion, and you just kind of say, well, everybody that's in town around the recruiting weekend, like, we really need your help. But it does. I mean, there's always that argument of what hurts more, having that close game loss or a big one. They both really hurt and they both really sting. So I can appreciate that. And again, that combined with feeling like this is not the end of the world and all that sort of stuff. As far as like here we go again and all that, I think that you kind of combine those thoughts and you think that Matt Rhule is at least in a good headspace to move forward. And that was, to be quite honest, it didn't seem like he had a whole lot of answers after UCLA last year, right? And there's certain stuff like Scott Frost over there. You mentioned that 5-22 in one-score games. He had so many of those press conferences where you just go, I don't think he has the, at a certain time you'd ask him and try to find the answers. At a certain point, you're like, he doesn't have the answers. Stop asking him. And so, it is important to how you respond to these.
All right, I got here are my final notes from the week. I'm just going to fire through them. And this was actually, someone decommitted today from Nebraska's 2026 class, but now Nebraska's on the rise for number 1 2028 defensive lineman Marcus Fakatu. After his second visit to Nebraska, the 6'7", 270-pound sophomore talks his relationship with Terry Bradden. This is via Tim Verghese on X, by the way. And why the Huskers are rising and getting, and I quote, the real spill, end quote, from the former high school teammate of TJ Lateef. Okay. All right. So Nebraska's, they're targeting some high recruits across the country. And these are the types of guys they're trying to get. Big Ten teams blitz rate from week 4. Nebraska blitzed more than any other team in the Big Ten, 56%. Some of the teams at the bottom was like Oregon, Maryland, Purdue, Washington, USC, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana. Michigan was up there at 49%. But Nebraska blitzed more than anybody else. I think that's a product of the design of the 3-3-5 scheme or the hybrid that we're running. I think it was also trying to find a way, since we're a little bit undersized up front, to try to find a way to stop that run game and get guys downhill and get them in the backfield, hopefully get some tackles for loss. As I've mentioned, there's pluses and minuses. The reason you don't do it all the time is sometimes there's going to be gaps and sometimes you'll penetrate and get the big play. As far as Big Ten quarterback grades from week 4, Dylan Riola was graded as the 8th. Is that right? 8th? Yes, 8th best quarterback in the Big Ten. By the way, Fernando Mendoza of Indiana is just lighting it on fire. The Cal transfer. They lost their starting quarterback and their top 5 running backs, by the way. and they dropped 27, beat Minnesota 27-14. But it doesn't matter when we play them. It's going to be a dogfight and a rock fight up in Minnesota. I got a couple more things here, and then we're going to get to Matt Rhule's press conferences. And is Nebraska in the wrong conference? We're not moving conferences, to be clear. But are we in the wrong conference? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At CHI Health Clinic, we believe healthcare should be personal because knowing your provider personally makes appointments more comfortable, more productive, and more meaningful to your overall health. Get matched with a primary care provider based on your personality and lifestyle using CHI Health Clinic's My Provider Match. Take the survey at myprovidermatch.com to find the right provider for you. Getting healthier starts by getting personal at CHI Health Clinic.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Führer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Führer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all fours and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Since 1983, Fast Mike's Rollouts have been a trusted and reliable company in Lincoln and the surrounding areas. Fast Mike's handles all sides of construction projects, home renovations, or big cleanouts. With the perfect size dumpster to fit your needs, Fast Mike's Rollouts will haul it all. With same-day delivery in Lincoln, affordable rates, and top-notch service, Fast Mike's Rollouts make cleanup quick and easy. Call now at 402-450-6828 or visit us online at fastmikesrolloffs.com. Book your dumpster today. Fast Mike's Rolloffs, cleanup made simple.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
From the capital to castles, starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Follow the Huskers to the City of Angels when Nebraska plays at UCLA in November. Book your official Nebraska alumni travel package at huskerfantravel.com. Choose from 2 or 3 night options that include a hotel in scenic Santa Monica, an exclusive welcome event, game day transportation, and the official Husker Huddle pregame party. Add on your game tickets for an optional upgrade. Transportation to and from LA is not included. Join the official Nebraska alumni trip to see the Huskers play at UCLA. Spots are limited, so book your trip now at huskerfantravel.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, showers and thunderstorms likely throughout the day. See a high around 71. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise mainly cloudy skies with a low around 58. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies with a light breeze, an afternoon high near 74. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Byrne as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Adam Carricker Show. We got a couple of comments that we're going to get to real quick. I do want to give a shout out, however. Suizo Construction. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back on and off the job site. All right. Suizo Construction, where safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Apply at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction, that's SOW.com. All right. Oh, we got a couple of comments real quick. Actually, go to the comments, and then I'll get to this stuff over here.
Yeah, just a couple questions, comments for you. 7127 says the atmosphere was nowhere close to Colorado, and it kind of let me down. Everybody was kind of cheering scared, more anticipating negative than trying to help the team.
I am convinced it's one of the reasons I would have kicked the field goal on the first drive. Again, I'm never going to get on a coach for playing to win and not being and not playing not to lose. All right, but it's one of the reasons I would have kicked the field goal. You go right down the field, your first possession, you move the ball well. By the way, our best possession of the whole day, 10 plays, 70 yards. Okay, you don't get the touchdown, but you get the field goal. Now, to your point yesterday, it almost set up our next field goal because Michigan, when we didn't convert, got the ball at the 5, 3 and out, punt, we get the ball at their 34. Unfortunately, we missed the field goal. But it would have, because I'm not going to lie to you. As soon as I saw that, as much as I don't want to admit this, I had a little letdown inside. I did. I was like, oh, man. And then after we missed the field goal, I'm like, one of my keys to the game, we're not supposed to talk about Michigan anymore. One of my keys to the game was we can't leave points on the field. I'm like, there's 2 possessions where we got 0 points. I feel like that might have taken the air out of the sails, at least like the first possession to a degree, and then the next possession to a degree, and then all of a sudden Michigan scores and they're up 10 to 0. You know what I mean? Like it was the progression of the game. The Colorado game, it was 28-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
We had a pick 6. We were running all over them boys. The game was different. The atmosphere is going to be affected by that as the game goes along. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, next comment.
I don't think there's anything better than winning, starting out 28-0. That really helped there. Dirty Tony and the boys says, I was at the game. We're never that close. Our offensive line got destroyed, absolutely scorched. Our running defensive got absolutely destroyed. We were never in control of that game. So there's another thought about not being close. But here's another one that I thought was interesting. 9803. You knew this was going to happen after a loss. Should RHULE get off the podcast and focus more on coaching?
He knew this was a possibility. Like they've had this podcast planned since January, February, just FYI. This did not come to fruition just right before the season. They have known that this was going to happen since Christmas break was over, short time after Christmas break last winter. So they had to know, hey, at some point we're probably going to lose a game. There might be a heartbreaker. There might be this or that. And I think that's why they put it out on Thursdays, because people have that grieving process, and then you start to look ahead to the next game. Unfortunately, it's a bye week this week. This had to be something they anticipated. I think when it first happened, you even mentioned to me during one of our breaks on the show that this is a risk. RHULE's not going to stop the podcast. He knew this was a risk. He knew it was part of it. He's trying to do certain things, be ahead of the curve, get out there, get in front of. It's why he does Pat McAfee. It's why he's doing the podcast. It's why even Portnoy is going to Portnoy. He has him on the show because it gets Nebraska out there. Whether you agree with it, whether you like it, whether you don't, I don't know how much time his podcast takes him. I know how much time a podcast can take, and it can take a lot. I also know people who just sit down in front of the camera and roll, and he's a really good speaker. So I have to assume people help him with the outline. He looks at it, he prepares, but it doesn't take too much time. Not that they're not prepared, but they make it easy for him, and then he's really good in front of a microphone. So I think he's trying to capitalize on that when it comes to getting Nebraska out there and big-time recruits from across the country. It's a risk you take when you do it in season. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was surprised that they decided to do it in season. I think that was part of the surprise for everybody. But I think part of it too is you have these media sessions. You got to do your coach's show. You got to go like you did yesterday and do so. You already have time kind of ironed out for the week. Maybe this adds a little bit more. Like you said, I'm assuming he's not up late night thinking about what am I going to put on my podcast tomorrow. Oh no, we don't have enough prepared for my podcast. I think it's probably laid out for him. A naturally gifted speaker. I'll continue to say it. I'm all for him speaking and getting in front of any camera he can to put Nebraska on a good platform. Again, it could just be tough after losses. This one, maybe not that tough, but imagine Brett Bielema trying to do a podcast this week.
63-10, the massacre in Bloomington. That's right. Hey guys, I'm not feeling well. See you next week. I'm going to take a bye week from the podcast. That's what Bielema would do.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully Nebraska doesn't get into that position this year. But and they just have to go to Bloomington. So that seems the common thing.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it for now.
All right. Let me finalize my thoughts from the weekend. Dylan Riola is the first. This is actually pretty interesting. Dylan Riola is the first quarterback to throw for 300 plus yards and 3 touchdowns against Michigan since Georgia did it Stetson Bennett in 2021. Think about that. For everyone who's slicing and dicing Dylan after the game, think about that. I'm actually going to hold on to that for another show. It's lessons from Tom Osborne's book. Someone sent me a screenshot, and it's like 7 keys that need to happen every game in order to get a win. I'm going to save that for a future show. All right, Big Ten tier list overall. Not week 4, but overall. Front runners, Ohio State, Indiana. I don't know why in the world. Okay, Oregon and Penn State aren't up there, but high chance contenders, Oregon, USC, Penn State. Low chance contenders, Washington, Maryland, Nebraska, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois. Why are we on the same level as Michigan? Why is Illinois on the same level as any of those teams right now? Although, I don't know. If you're an Illinois fan, it's one game. Pretty bad game. All right. And then you got bowl game contender. You got Michigan State, Iowa, Rutgers, and then it gets worse from there. All right. I'm not even going to mention Big Ten power rankings. We didn't drop much. We were like 7th last week. We're 8th this week. What happened was Michigan actually jumped up to 5th, then USC at 6, Washington at 7, we're at 8. At the top is Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Indiana, and then Michigan at 5th. All right, final notes from the weekend. Through 4 games, Dylan Riola's national ranks among Power 4 quarterbacks. He's 3rd in the country in completion percentage, 76%. 8th in passing yards, 1,137. 6th in touchdown passes, 11. 15th in passer rating, and a 172 passer rating. And he is one of only 2 Power 4 quarterbacks to complete over 100 passes this year. Again, you can point to level of competition. I can also point to the fact that he sat out 3.5 quarters, almost an entire game. He's played well. Things he can do better? Yes. All right, let's get to Matt Rhule's press conference real quick from yesterday. And then we're going to save one of those clips for Thursday along with the Osborne book notes, but we're going to roll the clip about Nebraska's current conference. All right, there it is. So my notes from the press conference yesterday. We're playing better on special teams, throwing the ball, and defending the pass. Everything you and I have already talked about. And like I said, it's not and I quote, hey, we don't have good enough players, and I quote, situation, have to play better. And he said, we have to coach better. All that's fair. None of that's shocking. We need to play better than we played. Not shocking. Never felt that. This is what I mentioned earlier. And I quote, oh, here we go again. End quote. That's a big deal. You cannot have that feeling. We didn't widen the pocket enough. The pocket was collapsed a lot. Wants to run the ball more, wants to run for between 100 to 150 yards a game. I mean, at least 150, I think. We're rushing for 144 right now, and we're in the bottom half of the country per game. So, says we had every chance to win that game. Wants to see how guys respond, especially the tackles, the offensive tackles. It's just a week where Elijah Pritchett can make some strides. When he's blocking somebody, he's probably the best pure blocker we have. It's the other things that go into playing offensive tackle he needs to be more consistent with. We have to play better up front in order to win. Doing everything this week like it's not a bye week, and I agree with that. They're fresh. Like, you just got to get better. This needs to be a fall camp week, in my humble opinion. Here we go. Oh, he does think that the 5 for 5, in other words, you're going to get 5 years of eligibility. That rule is going to pass. Like Brett Bielema expects it to pass. A lot of people expect it to pass. I like it. Let's keep good players in college football longer. Carson Beck would be in the NFL right now if it wasn't for Miami. Deshaun Singleton would be in the NFL right now if it wasn't for NIL, etc. He was literally trading for the draft. Need more production from our second running back. Says these guys are not acting like victims. Says our onside kick was good. Timing was just off. We have a lot to build on. One thing that was not in those particular notes was he talked about he doesn't want to just buy into the narrative over 1 or 2 plays away. Because that means it doesn't send the message hard enough that we need to get better now. And we need to get stuff out of this bye week now. Because we got teams who are going to come here. And they're going to run the ball. And they're going to try to blitz and light up Dylan. Why would you not after the Michigan tape? And we have to be prepared. We have to be better than what we did. Or we're talking about 5, 6, 7 wins. Which nobody thinks is acceptable. After hearing what Matt Rhule had to say, how far do you think he believes Nebraska is from where they truly want to be? Like knocking on the door. We're walking up to the door, but we're not ready to knock on it. Clearly, Is the door open? We just need to walk through. Are we down the street from the door? So we're not even walking up to it yet. Where do you think he thinks we are? Just trying to decipher his comments here.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to tell because obviously you've got your own thoughts coming in from the Michigan game. But through his comments, I think he thinks that they're progressing, right? I think that he thinks that they're getting there. He mentioned that they're kind of on a level playing field as everybody else, and other than 10 teams with the with the money kind of be set where it is now, coming from the university. So I think he thinks that they're close and getting better. I know that's not the answer that you're necessarily looking for, but I mean, it would hard for me to think that he walked away and think they're close to perfect. They need a lot of work, but at the same time, I think he's proud of the work that they've made.
I think he's clearly not happy, but I think I don't want to say he's disappointed, but I think he feels disappointed he clearly thought we were going to win. Okay. Felt like I got hit in the head by a hammer after the game, which it's right after a loss. So keep the emotions of a tough loss and being in front of the press right after that in mind. He says things that indicate to me a little bit that he's not quite pleased with where we're currently at, and he's a little not shocked, a little surprised that we're not I don't think the door's open and we're ready to walk through. I think in his mind, we're knocking on the door and we need to get the door open before we can walk through. He would like to be to the point where either we've walked through or we are walking through. The door's not open yet. We've got to bang that bad boy open. Does that make sense? I feel like that's where he thinks we're at. We're not down the street, probably a year or two ago. We're not walking up to the door. I feel like we're closer than walking. We're just knocking on the door. Well, we got to get it open somehow. We got to pry it open with a crowbar. Not Home Alone style. That never goes well. But we got to pry that bad boy open, and then we can go through it. That's kind of my interpretation. What are your thoughts there before we go to break?
Yeah, and I can appreciate that. And it's funny again too. These games that are so close that do come down to. Again, if Isaiah Hunders doesn't step out of the, there's a lot of different ways to say if and but about that game. But if that does not happen, somehow Nebraska comes out of this on top. Are you a lot closer than what you really would be if one of your players' foot doesn't? But it's the same thing. You go back to Hartzog. But if Hartzog doesn't make that play, then are you a lot further away than? So I mean, it's really about just winning those games.
Dude, if we were 2-2, oh, bad news, Bach. We left that in the first hour. Don't bring that stuff up, man. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna have an interesting debate when we come back. We'll be right back.
There are great Mexican restaurants all over town, but there is one that is especially worth the drive from any part of town. Tacos Los Hermanos at 70th and Havelock. Cool off this summer with a delicious horchata or other special drinks, and grab one of their famous taco boxes for a group of friends or coworkers to enjoy, full of birria tacos and many other options. Don't forget their great desserts like tres leches, flan, and cheesecake. Get to Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
From the capital to castles. Starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Football game days are fun for the whole family, but not every child is ready for 4 quarters in the stadium. That's why the Lincoln Children's Museum offers game day play dates for kids ages 5 to 12. While you enjoy the game, your kids enjoy their own adventure at the museum, conveniently located just steps from the stadium. Registration required. And the fun isn't just on game days. The museum is open 6 days a week with 3 floors of hands-on play and activities. Out-of-town families, make the most of your weekend in Lincoln. Visit lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today.
Advanced Medical Imaging is hosting their 3rd annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk on October 11th at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. Hear inspiring stories from survivors, enjoy local food truck vendors, a live DJ, and other family-friendly activities as we unite to bring awareness about breast cancer. Check-in begins at 8:30 a.m. with the walk starting at 9. Register your team today for Advanced Medical Imaging's 3rd annual Breast Cancer Awareness Walk online at amimaging.com. Let's walk for those we've lost, for those still fighting, and for a future without breast cancer.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. Second half today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history. Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds, 3 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
God can't drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 26th through the 28th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
This is the Adam Carricker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! All right, we don't have a whole lot of time. You got that clip ready? Because we got to decide if Nebraska should go to the SEC or not. Let's roll the clip, and then we will decide the fate of all Nebraska sports.
All right, this is Clay Travis. Is this what happens when you pick the wrong conference? And I don't mean pick the wrong conference for money, because the Big Ten has made Nebraska a lot of money. But if you talk to Nebraska Cornhusker fans, would they rather play Texas, Texas A&M, Missouri, Arkansas. Would they rather play those teams, or would they rather play Washington, Oregon, Rutgers, Maryland? I think Nebraska's in the wrong cultural conference. I think that Nebraska actually should be in the SEC. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But if you look historically, Nebraska recruited, did I mention Oklahoma as a team certainly that Nebraska would rather play? Nebraska recruited by going south. It's a small state that doesn't produce a ton of elite athletes. They went down to Texas, they went down to Oklahoma, and they were able to get dudes from those states. Where do they recruit now? What's the best rival that Nebraska has in the Big Ten geographically? Iowa? Now, I would argue with you, and again, Nebraska fans can tell me if I'm wrong. I would argue with you that Nebraska would rather play Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. 5 SEC teams before they would rather play Iowa. Who else am I missing? Minnesota? Come on, that's not a rival. Wisconsin? Not a rival. Michigan? I mean, it's a cool game because you have 2 big brands, but Nebraska and Michigan are very different. In other words, culture matters. And to me, the culture disconnect here is significant, worth keeping in mind.
So, ladies and gentlemen, text in your response to that. We've only got 3 or 4 minutes. So this might spill over into Thursday. My initial reaction was a couple of things. Out of all the schools he listed from the South, I couldn't possibly care less except for maybe Oklahoma and Missouri. I have no tie to A&M. Don't love Texas. Why he kept bringing up Arkansas is beyond me. Like, why Arkansas? Didn't we play them in the Cotton Bowl like 50 years ago or something? Like, so when it comes to rivals, like, and it does, the past decade to decade and a half, we have played Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin almost every year, with Iowa every year. So they do feel more like rivals to me. Now, if you talk about Oklahoma and the old Big 8 Missouri, okay. So this was just something that caught my eye. Doesn't mean I agreed with them. I wanted to hear what people had to say. So I didn't agree there. When it comes to recruiting, yeah, the old Big 12 was better for us. Being able to dip into Oklahoma and Texas and play games there, and they could see us on their television every Saturday. Those recruits helped us. But what about the Big 8 days? Kansas, Kansas State, Colorado, Missouri. I guess Oklahoma State, but there was no Texas teams on the schedule every year. So when he talks about that, I'm like, I get it, but we were in the Big 8 a lot longer. We were in the Big 12. So to a degree, yes and no. When he talks about the cultural fit, that is the one thing that kind of, to be clear, we're not going to the SEC. I understand. Although Jake and I should decide the fate of Nebraska when it comes to, everything. But that's not what's happening here. The cultural thing, I've always felt like Nebraska is a little bit of an outsider in the Big Ten. Would we be a better culture fit in the SEC? I don't know. Maybe. Does Nebraska nice fit Southern hospitality a little bit better? That one is the only thing that really I was kind of like, maybe. But everything else I was kind of like, yes and no. I didn't really agree with him on a ton. I just thought it was an interesting topic. It's the second time he's brought it up, by the way. We played a clip of him before. So I'm going to leave my thoughts there because we got to be quick. And if we need to continue on Thursday, we will. What are your thoughts? What do we got off the text line before we get out of here, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you, I don't understand the Arkansas thing. And he very much cherry picks the best of the SEC possibility and the worst of the Big Ten. Now, to his point, there's nothing really, I mean, I have fun with the Minnesota rivalry. I mean, I think people do. As far as the brand names you'd play, like the Michigans, you'd play that in the SEC with the Georgias or Floridas that you don't play now. So you can swap those. So, I mean, I get it. Nebraska doesn't feel like it's part of the Big Ten. Yes, I think by now it does, but it's never going to be the Big 8. It's never going to be the Big 12 feeling. And if you were chasing that to the SEC, you'd get a completely different feeling. I wouldn't hate it. And there is a text that said they'd much rather be in the SEC than in the Big Ten. I think people would have fun with it. I think, always go back to kind of the care factor and, it's definitely there in the SEC. But again, you can cherry pick certain things. If you're playing Mississippi State and Kentucky and Vanderbilt, there's not a whole lot of Kentucky, there's not a whole lot of cultural stuff that's going to cross over there either. So I don't mind the idea of it. It would be fun, but you're in one of the 2 best conferences. Yeah. That's the big deal.
Well, did he say why he'd prefer the SEC in the text, or you just prefer the SEC?
He just said I would much rather be in the SEC.
So as much as I make fun of the SEC for how they used to schedule, which is going to change next year, props for going to 9 games and one Power 4 non-conference opponent mandated every year. The SEC is not easier than the Big Ten. I still maintain top to bottom the Big Ten is better. I know we won the past couple national championships, and now that everybody gets paid, I'm just going to let that sentence end there with a ... But I don't know if it's all of a sudden easier. I think if it's like the home field advantage. If you're winning games, people view your home field as more difficult. If you're winning games, nobody's asking if we're in the wrong conference. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a glorious day today and tomorrow. I'll see you fine folks on Thursday. Go Big Red. And always remember to throw them bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The Nebraska Lottery announces a great new lotto game for our state, Nebraska Pick 4. What's so great about it? Well, it costs just $1 to play. There's a $6,000 top prize. There are drawings every day.